Hey there, I'm Bo and I'm here at Toyota, and today I'm going to show you how to change your oil on your Toyota vehicle. So here's the items that you will need for your operation on your oil change. You will need non-synthetic 020 from Toyota, and you will need A4 filter for your filter housing. You will have your drain plug and drain plug gasket as well. If you need any of these items, you can find them here at Toyota of Bend. So first thing you do in changing oil in your vehicle is you want to pop the hood. You want to make sure that you get your oil cap, you twist that all the way off and find a secure place to set it so you don't lose it during the process of getting the vehicle jacked up. After you do that, you take your dipstick and you pull it up about halfway so a little bit more airflow and it's easier for the oil to drain out of it. And then after you're done with that step, you jack up the vehicle, you go to the skid plate, and you take out all of your bolts, which you have 3 10mm bolts, and you have 5 12mm bolts. Once you're done taking those out, you'll remove the skid plate from the hooks coming from the front to your left or right, depending on where you're facing. And once you get that out, you will take your ratchet and you will take your filter housing cup and you will loosen that up. Once you get it to about the point where you can move it with your hand, you just unscrew it with your hand. Let the residual oil from that oil filter drain down. And once that's all clean, you take your used oil filter, take that out, and you take a screwdriver to get the old O-ring from the filter housing out. Once you're done with that, you'll take your A4 filter. Okay, you'll install your new O-ring for your filter housing. After you get that on, you're going to want to take the residual oil from the housing itself and lube that O-ring. And when you're done with lubing the O-ring, you'll take your new filter and you'll place it on the housing and you'll screw it back into the vehicle. Once you get your filter housing in, you will torque it with your torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds. You will clean it up with brake clean and make sure you get all of the oil out so no residual drops will end up on your driveway or wherever you're parked. And you'll take a rag to clean up the residual brake clean. And after you're done with that, you'll take your ratchet and you will take a 14mm socket and you will break the drain plug loose. While it's hand tight, you will thread those out and it will start draining. Sometimes the drain plug gasket will go with your drain plug. Other times it will stay on the oil pan itself. So after the oil has drained enough, you will take your screwdriver if it's still on the oil pan and you'll just go inside just a bit after you clean it with brake clean. And you'll be able to install your drain plug gasket onto your drain plug. Once you put that in there, you will torque it with your torque wrench to 30 foot-pounds. When you get your drain plug and your filter housing clean, that's when it's time to put your skid plate back together. So when you put your skid plate back together, you want to, if you have a drill, to use it on a low setting so you don't strip your bolts. And for the 10mm bolts in the front, you usually want to start hand threading because it is a plastic housing. And if you go and accidentally break one of those, then your screw won't fit in there quite right and it won't look very good. So once you get all those in there, you want to make sure they're nice and snug. You want to make sure your skid plate won't move around, it's not making any noise because you'll be able to hear it going down the road once you're done with that process. So once you're done putting that skid plate back on, and you're going to go back to where you started, fill your vehicle with 7.9 or the amount of oil your vehicle takes. When you pop the hood, you'll find a engine type sticker that is located on your hood. You can use that to determine what kind of oil and how much will go in your vehicle. Some rags in there for you, just to make sure you don't get anything all over your engine bay. You will pour it in there. Once you get that oil filled, put your oil cap back in. And then you will prime the vehicle. Priming the vehicle means that you will be test firing it so the oil will flow into your oil filter. So when you prime that, that's when you know the oil pressure will read correctly on your dipstick. Once you're done firing it for about 10 seconds, you'll go out and you will find your dipstick, you'll pull it out, wipe it once from the residual oil before fire, and you'll put it back in, wait for about 2 seconds, not too long, it doesn't really matter necessarily, but you'll lift that back up and you'll read right in between those two dots. And the oil after fire should be right in between those two dots. And you'll close the hood. And that is the process. Thank you for watching this video today. If you have any questions, give us a call at Toyota Event.
Kendall, let's start something great.